Hello again, and thank you for joining us here at Bloodworth Miniatures. My name is Kyle, and today we are painting the C'tan Void Dragon. So we're going to start off with some Caliban Green Air by Citadel. This is, Caliban Green, you could be using the pot, absolutely. I'm just using the airbrush to save time here. You can see I'm having fun with the glove there, but I'm a bit clumsy. So, this is basically just the base color for all the energy effects. Even if you had like a rattle can of the Caliban Green, because Citadel does have a rattle can of Caliban Green, you could absolutely just start by priming the model Caliban Green. Like, that's an option. I want everything to have sort of like a green tone even in the background. So after that, we're going to airbrush with white ink over the Caliban Green. I'm just using the FW series. Forgot to put it up on the camera. So we're aiming at wherever there's sort of like energy. We're going over that with the white ink. A lot of people like the Liquitex white ink, so that's definitely an option as well. And you could just use like white airbrush color, any white airbrush color if you prefer. I like the white ink because it's a little bit transparent. This is what it looked like when it was done. We went over the whole body with the white ink. In the end, I kept green just in the deepest shadows on the body, and there's green obviously on all the undersides of everything. It's a little hard to see it here, but that is the plan. And here's the back, just so you can see a bit more of the areas that I left green. This ended up like over painting onto the rubble like a lot more than I thought it would. So that's why we're going into the base color Caliban Green here, and we're just doing some thin coats over the rubble to get that color back. That's the main goal here, is just to try and fill back in anywhere on the rubble that I had overpainted. In retrospect, I might not have airbrushed the energy like wisps as much as I did, but I found, that I still got a clean look. I also went ahead and put the Caliban Green up on the stone areas, on the wings, and on the head area. And we have game color, this Vallejo game color Dead White, watered down to a thin consistency. You could also do this with white ink, or basically with any white paint, but the idea here is we're filling in all of the like hieroglyphs and all of the like areas that look like they're full of energy again. This is all of the white is basically what we're doing is it's the groundwork for using Tesseract Glow. With the Necrons army, I find Tesseract Glow is like the real workhorse of painting. You could go ahead and use Moot Green to paint this up. You could do some blending if you preferred to kind of get that similar effect. But as of right now, I find not much looks better than just setting up the white and then going over it with the Tesseract Glow. So here's the Canoptic Alloy, new color by Citadel specifically for Necrons. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to put this all over his body. The goal that I'm going for here is sort of like a metallic body with green shadows. Is what I'm aiming for. So I'm doing thin coats of this over his body and down the sort of canoptic spine attachment that he has. I'm putting it on there as well. And on the wings, and on the there's that canoptic backpack that he has, and there's what the final result looks like. Now we're going in with silver to do highlights. So with these highlights, we're aiming like close to the top of the muscle groups. We want to try and like still keep that sort of like yellowy silver underneath showing through, but we want to have a little bit of silver on top of that just to give it a little bit more of a shine and some variance in the color. And of course we still want that green like in the deep recesses, so kind of going green into yellow into white, sort of like green, and then the yellowy silver from the canoptic alloy, and then the silver on top of that. Be careful, use thin down paint during this stage. The benefit is you're doing metallic over metallic, so it should blend like fairly well without too much work here. And yeah, I would probably still use like a bigger brush. This isn't super fine detail, and here's what it looks like at the end with the punched up silver there, just to give it a bit more depth, a bit more highlight, really make those muscles pop. So now we're back with the dead white by Game Color. I'm going over everywhere that I did the ink on the energy. I'm just hitting the tops. This is all in preparation again for the Tesseract glow. We're just punching this up a little bit over all these sort of like energy tendrils and the symbol on his head. It's hard to see the difference here, but there's a bit of cleaning up that happened as well. So now we're using Cryptic Armor Shade Gloss. This does a lot of work to turn some of our silver areas into more of like a bronze color. This follows suit with my army, like the rest of my Necrons army, doing really similar thing with the bronze. Get this all over the wings, all over the headpiece, and all over both the spear and the big tail. There's a lot of areas to cover, but it's basically just like any shade or any wash, and it makes it look bronze. So we're going to mix Caliban green with dead white, and we're going to dry brush this over all the rubble to give it sort of like a easy edge highlight. It looks a little chalky when you do dry brushing, which is perfect for stone areas. To make them look dry and a little chalky actually helps with the texture to make it look more like stone. That kind of technique is also really useful when you're doing terrain. We also want to go up in these bits in the wings and on the maybe using just the very edge of the brush on the headpiece to get them highlighted a little bit. And you can see some close-ups here of what that dry brush looks like. So now we're going to grab polished gold, Vallejo's Game Color polished gold, and we're going to go over the headpiece here. I really like polished gold because it's really bright. It's slightly transparent, so when we're going over the areas that we did the armor shade gloss with, it'll show a little bit of that armor shade through, giving some more depth to the metal, which I really like. We're going over the spear, and I decided partway through this paint job that it would look really cool if the spear looked like it was being sort of like made out of the arm of the the Void Dragon, like he was creating it, since it does appear to sort of be part of him. So you'll see here that I blended the gold in with the rest of our paint job slowly to make it look like he has created this spear out of his hand with just by sort of like moving the minerals there, or whatever the case may be. I wanted the model to have a bit of a story. So we're going to go back to the Canaptic alloy here, and we're just going to do a dry brush over all of the wings, to sort of like, again, get like a quick edge highlight. You can go through and do like a cleaner edge highlight if you want. I've sort of been speed painting my Necrons army. I'm trying to get like a really decent quality look to them without taking a humongous amount of time. I know that these are centerpiece models, and like some people might think like, hey, you should be working harder on that, but the area that I took a lot of time to really make it look good is the actual like muscle section, to make it have that color shifting between the green and the Canaptic alloy and the silver and the gold. So now we're going to mix Caliban green with contrast medium and gold, and what we're doing is making some shadows in the gold areas, because we want our shadows to stay green, have that sort of that energy filled effect without taking away from the metallic. So we're rubbing that in, and it also helps to sort of blend the silver and gold areas together. But with the contrast medium, it makes it pretty easy to get this going without too much technical skill, which is, not everyone has it. So we're mixing dead white with Caliban green and Abaddon black. This is for doing the wet blending on the power area. This is the most technical, like skill intensive part of the paint job, if I'm being honest. It takes a lot of time to work these sections back and forth. You see I've marked out top bottom with the white, and basically what you're doing is slowly building up the black towards the opposite side of the blade and the green to sort of blend them together. And then once this is looking really crispy, we'll go ahead and put some Tesseract glow over it to blend it all together, and it'll look really good. But you can see here I'm just kind of glazing in some black into the darkest areas, and you want to get the crispy edge highlights as well with white. So, and getting some more green in there for the mid-tones. It's really a back and forth game. I describe this as teasing the paint a lot of the time. You sort of put it down in one place, and then you sweep away. So you put it like near the middle and then sweep towards the area you want to be more green, and it leaves a little bit of green behind. And here's the final look on that with the edge highlights. So we're grabbing some Screaming Skull here. There's a couple of little skulls on the base. I went over them with Armor Shade just to darken them and give them some shadows. But now I'm going over them with Screaming Skull to make them look more like skulls. Yeah, there's just a couple of little skulls. And then here's some Reichland Flesh Shade. This is the non-gloss because we're going over skulls. And that gets into the recesses there. Switching on a Livery Green to dry brush the base. This is to kind of tie it in with the rest of my army where the base has Livery Green, and brushing it right up towards some of the stone parts on this base as well, just to make it look like the Livery Green base dust has kind of moved over it. And finally, we're adding in our Tesseract Glow, which this is the paint that does most of the work for this paint job. Like, again, this whole paint job is really a lot about how you can get a good looking model without too much like advanced technical skills, like without taking a million years, because you can do much better than this, like if you want to spend 30-40 hours doing up your paint job. But with just a little bit of Tesseract Glow, you can get a really amazing look without nearly as much effort. And that's kind of what I was going for here, is just getting that really decent centerpiece model without all the work. Thanks for joining us today here at Bloodworth Miniatures. Please take a look at the Patreon. Appreciate subscriptions and likes. It really helps out the channel a lot. I'll show you some B-roll here of the Void Dragon, the C'tan Shard, for you to enjoy on the way out.